and I am just really excited to learn all about octopuses. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I took a little bit of a hiatus over the holidays. It was a very much so unintended hiatus. I definitely wanted to just like do videos all the way through and didn't. So I am really excited that today I get to show you guys my latest book outlet haul. So I was fortunate enough this holiday season to have my parents approach me before the holidays and say, Nicole, what would you like for Christmas? And of course, with Booktube and this newfound hobby of reading, I said, well, you know, I wouldn't mind getting some new books. And in the process, I turned my mom onto Book Outlet. She had no idea that Book Outlet existed, and I think I may have created a monster. These things are so cheap! This is like 3 times the price on Amazon! Oh my god! Like I've created a monster. Oops. Anyways, as I said, I received these 8 books from Book Outlet as a holiday Christmas gift, and I'm just really excited to share them with you guys. So the first 2 books that I have to show you guys are books 1 and 2 in a series, and usually I'm a little bit more hesitant to buy books 1 and 2 in a series because I don't know if I'll like book 1, but I was so excited by the synopsis of this book, by the first one, that I was just like, you know what? It's fine, I'm sure I'll love the second one. So I ended up with The Last Magician and The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. So my understanding of this book is that in the past, there was a group of people that are called the Order that put up this barrier around the island of Manhattan, which they call the Brink. And basically, if you are a magic carrying person, a person of magic, you can enter into Manhattan, but then the Brink will keep you from leaving. I think like you can leave, but if you leave, you lose your magical powers. Now, we've also got a main character named Esta, who apparently she is like a really talented thief, and she will go and steal magical artifacts from different institutions and things. And at some point in the book, Esta has to travel to the past and uncover certain artifacts and writings and information that will keep the Order from creating the Brink in the future. And apparently that's what the book is about. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds super cool to me. If you guys have watched my Bookish Buzzwords video, you know that thief is a word that if it's in the title or if it's in the description, I'm just like, I'm there for that story. I love the idea of like people sneaking around and doing things that maybe they shouldn't. I just find that like a really intriguing idea in a lot of books, and I especially like when it's incorporated with magic and fantasy, so this kind of sounds like it's right up my alley. Next up, we've got a book that just warms my nerdy little heart, and that is the Psychobiotic Revolution. So what does the Psychobiotic Revolution actually explain? Well, apparently this book explains the link between your microbiome, so the bacteria in your gut, and psychology. It's basically explaining the link between the two, which I thought was super cool. And it's really interesting because before I even knew this book existed, I didn't go looking for anything like this. It just happened upon my screen on Book Outlet when I was browsing one day. I was thinking about this exact subject one day, as you do. And I was thinking about it and I was like, you know, it's really interesting how so many different parts of the body and so many different areas of study of the human body are linked. And I got to thinking, I was like, I wonder if like, you know, the bacteria in your body and like your microbiome, I wonder if that affects your psychology. I wonder if that affects your mental health. And then lo and behold, I found this book and I had no clue that this was an area of study. I have heard that this is apparently a relatively new area of study. So I don't know, maybe I heard it or read it somewhere in the news that it was coming up and it was just, you know, sitting in my subconscious. I don't know. But I could not pass up getting this book because it just felt like the stars had aligned and the fates were like, Nicole, you need to read this book, because I had been thinking about this exact subject. So anyways, I think this sounds like a super cool book. I think it'd be interesting if more people read it and maybe we can like make this area of study more popular, because I want to see if there really is something to be said for the connection between your gut and the way that your mind is working. I mean, obviously there should be a connection, but I'm interested to find out what that connection really is. Moving on, we have got another nerdy book for my nerdy little heart, and this was a book that I picked up purely for the author. And that's because I learned about this author when I was doing my degree. So basically, the book that I picked up was Half Earth by Edward O. Wilson. Basically, I had an animal behavior class, and the professor himself was really into this idea of studying sociobiology. And Edward O. Wilson is considered the father of sociobiology. Sociobiology basically being the study of like the social structure and class systems in living things. That's a pretty broad definition, but as an example, Edward O. Wilson apparently is like the leading expert on sociobiology in ants, so sort of the social systems that ants have. Anyways, that's the reason why I picked up this book. It sounds like this book is going to be talking quite a lot about climate science, which is something that I'd like to learn a lot more about. That's kind of why I picked this up, mostly because of the author, but also because of the subject matter. And I'm hoping that I can read this soon. It's very, very short, and hopefully it will be something that I can recommend to you guys. Diving back into the fiction side of things, we have got The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. Now, this one was one that I was interested in for a couple of reasons. One, I already have The Bedlam Stacks by Natasha Pulley, and that's a book that I really want to get to soon because it sounds really, really interesting. And this one pretty much just follows suit. So this is a book that takes place in, I believe, 1883? Yes, 1883 in London. In this story, we follow a main character named Thaniel. So Thaniel goes home to his apartment one day and finds a gold pocket watch sitting on his pillow. Sometime later, this pocket watch ends up saving his life from a huge blast that ends up destroying Scotland Yard. And he basically gets set on this journey to figure out who made this watch and how it saved him. Basically, this sounds like a magical realism type story that takes place in Victorian England, and I am totally here for it. In keeping with the Victorian era 1880s theme, we have got The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. Now, this is a book that, to be quite honest, I knew very, very little about before deciding to purchase it. I pretty much decided to purchase this book because of the author. I do recall Roshani Chokshi, I hope I'm saying that right. I do recall this author writing a short story in 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, which is an Asian-inspired anthology work that I read last year. And I remember that story being perhaps my favorite out of all of the stories, mostly because of the writing style. So I kind of already wanted to explore more of this author's works, but then also I have heard a ton of things about The Gilded Wolves on Booktube. Now, the thing that interested me about hearing about it on Booktube was that it seems to be a very polarizing book. And I don't know if people, maybe like some people just love the writing style or don't, or if it's something more to do with like the story, the plot, the characters, I don't know. But pretty much I was just really excited to pick it up when I heard that it had something to do with Europe in the 1800s and the 1880s, no less. And apparently it also has something to do with like an unlikely cast of characters coming together for kind of like the common good or a common goal. So basically this was kind of just the perfect buy for me. I'm very excited to get into it. Honestly, mostly just because I really want to read this author again. I remember really, really enjoying their story in the anthology that I read previously. So we'll see. Hopefully I enjoy it. So the last fiction work on my list is This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. I've heard mixed reviews on this one, but it seems like the kind of book that is right up my alley, so I picked it up. I'm just going to read. Basically, I don't think that I could do a better job summarizing this than just the little leaflet in the book, so bear with me as I read this one. So basically this book is about Katerina Agata, which I love her last name because this book has a lot to do with genetics, and if you know anything about genes and like the bases involved in genes, her last name is kind of a play on that. Anyways, so it follows someone named Katerina Agata, and she is a hacker. She can cripple mainframes and crash through firewalls, but that's not what makes her special. In Kat's world, people are implanted with technology to recode their DNA, allowing them to change their bodies in any way they want, and Kat happens to be a gene hacking genius. So for me, as somebody who is really into science, this sounds super cool. This is no surprise, since Kat's father is Dr. Lachlan Agata, a legendary geneticist who may be the last hope for defeating a plague that has brought humanity to the brink of extinction. This is a book that I really want to recommend to my friend Sarah because she's super interested in disease and plagues and stuff like that, which sounds really morbid, but I promise it's not, it's just an interest. But anyways, I kind of want to read this with her, like we can nerd out about it. But during the outbreak, Lachlan was kidnapped by a shadowy organization called Cartaxus, leaving Kat to survive the last 2 years on her own. I love shadowy corporations. This book sounds like everything I'm going to love. When a Cartaxus soldier, it's always bad when a corporation has soldiers. That's always a bad sign. But when a Cartaxus soldier, Coil, arrives with news that her father has been killed, Kat's instincts tell her it's just another Cartaxus lie. But Coil also brings a message. Before Lachlan died, he managed to create a vaccine, and Coil needs Kat's help to release it and save the human race. I'm really excited to read that. Like, doesn't that sound like a cool, sciencey, nerdy sci-fi book? I don't know. Apparently it's very, very polarizing, so we'll see what I think about it when I eventually read it. All right, last up on the list is a nonfiction book, and I'm very excited to talk about it, and that is The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. I am so excited. So basically, this was another book that I kind of came across in my undergrad. Basically, I had a seminar course, I had a prof who was really interested in getting us all to read scientific literature, and he brought in like 30 of his own books from his own personal library and just started like lending them out to kids in the class because like he was the real MVP. And one of the books that I saw on the table, I ended up reading a book that I had at home anyways, but one of the books that he had on the table was this book, and I never forgot this book. Like, it was one of those things where I just saw it, and then my mind snapped a picture and was like, Nicole, one day, that book, you gotta read it. And I was so excited to find this on Book Outlet because I was like, yes, it is all coming full circle. What is this book about? Basically, it's just about octopuses. It's about octopuses. I'm getting really tired. Basically, this is a book about octopuses, and I'm really excited about it. So we have all probably heard that octopuses are known for being very intelligent and very resourceful creatures, and apparently the author in this book just gets right into his journalism on octopuses and goes and meets a bunch of different octopuses. And this is nonfiction, by the way. This is not like a fictional tale of a man who meets a bunch of octopuses. No, like the author goes and studies them kind of thing, and he meets a bunch of different octopuses and he gets to know their different personalities and like gets to learn all about them. And I am just really excited to learn all about octopuses. What more can I say? I'm intrigued. Guys, that is everything that I've got for you today. Those were the 8 books that I got on Book Outlet for the holidays, and I'm very, very thankful to my parents for gifting them to me. Let me know in the comments below if you guys got any books for Christmas or for the holiday season in general. I would be very interested to know if you guys maybe even got some of the same books that I got, or even if you got some books from Book Outlet, perhaps. Maybe we have that in common. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have read any of these books as well. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys!